you know how vindicating it feels when the band you've been listening to or the DJ suddenly becomes famous and they're all over the news and you're like, yeah, I was the first person who saw them. You're like the first 13 people that listened to the first concert of Joy Division or listened to the Beatles in Hamburg. And that's how I feel, really, about Pavel Durov's girlfriend, beautiful blonde girlfriend, Yulia Vavilova. He was just arrested. He's the owner of Telegram. As you know, he was just arrested in Paris. And his hot blonde girlfriend has been all over the news. The New York Post just ran a story saying mysterious blonde girlfriend posts photos from his location and has now disappeared. And I realized when I saw the pictures that I know this girl. And so I just wanted to share the story of meeting her and maybe what any kind of light it just sheds on everything that's been going on before I launch into the story. I just want to state that his arrest is a travesty. It's a disgrace. It's not something I would expect from a European country that values freedom of expression. They could have questioned him, for sure. There could have been a dialogue. But this kind of an arrest and keeping him away from the people and then questioning his girlfriend, who I'm going to talk about, is not something that should be tolerated. And I'm glad that at least here in America, the media has been very critical of his arrest. Now back to Yulia, it was just shocking to see her pictures, like as you see here in the video, all over the press. I wasn't sure it was her, and then I do follow her on Instagram, and I kind of double checked, and I realized it is her. And she's a bit like one of the, like Joy Division before they became famous. She's like one of these girls I've kind of been following, just wondering what happened to her. She used to work as a hostess at this very cool but kind of hipster nightclub in Moscow, in this hip kind of Soho, West Village area, Patrick Pond's, called Hangover, after the movie, I guess. Very cool little spot with house music. And I was there, the friend, I think it was August 2018, so it was 6 years ago. And I just noticed her the first time. She was stunning. She was wearing these white, high-top platform boots and long blonde hair, and she looked very healthy. I mean, Russian girls, I know they have a great reputation, but they do often look a little wan and unhealthy and a little pale, and they don't have the same workout culture. And Yulia just had this, she was just bursting with health. These radiant cheeks and taut skin, and she was tall, and so I kind of couldn't help myself, and I spoke to her a little bit, and she sort of mentioned that, she's lived in the U.S. briefly, her father was a diplomat, and she loves Barcelona, loves Michael Kors. There was Michael Kors shoes, and she was wearing tights, like really tights that fit her, which is very unusual, again, for Russian girls, at least then, 6 years ago. And then we kind of texted very, very briefly. Here's a picture of the text, and then I kind of just never really went on a date. I guess she was above my league even then. But I do remember seeing her because I was living in Moscow as a journalist. I was sort of enjoying the city. Now I'm back in New York. I do remember seeing her right after the war started in 2022. And she was distraught and crying and in tears. And I said, what happened? And she said, I don't want to live in North Korea. I don't support any of this. I'm leaving the country. And then I saw she ended up in Dubai. And then, a lot of Russian girls, they don't post on Instagram who they're with. It's always pictures of themselves, always vanity pictures. So even though I followed her the last couple of years in Dubai, it's pictures of her doing yoga on a yacht. I didn't realize she was dating the billionaire and owner of Telegram. But it makes sense. I was editor-in-chief of Russian Playboy. I have great taste. I always remembered her. She must be one of the most beautiful women I saw the entire time I lived in Moscow. That's why she sort of stuck in my head, and I followed her on Instagram, and I was kind of curious what happens to girls that attractive. And, she spoke perfect English, and, well, there's no mystery. She was a Durov. I heard she was questioned, but I heard she's fine. She's probably in Paris. I did message her on Instagram. She didn't get back to me. And, again, it's a travesty, but it's just weird how connected everything is. And when you have good taste, it feels like good taste floats to the top. And for her sake, she's a great girl. I hope everything works out. And that's it, guys.